Hello, and today we'll continue with Connected. So this is 3.1. Last time was 3.0, but the creator did some additional stuff to the new update. So this is 3.1. And they had to make a new save because the old save files wouldn't work. So I gotta create a new one here. So this is after Kai and Plover were interrogated by Chief Carlos. I've forgotten the chief's name, but he's a police chief. Anyway, the sun has always set, cloaking us in a layer of ambient darkness, disrupted only by the glinting green lights of the district we're in. I feel a paw on my shoulder firmly gripping me in place. A quick glance over my shoulder shows me that Jay's not a peacekeeper. Plover, do you mind telling me what the hell that was about? His words are tense, but they are not angered. They're concerned. He looks me up and down like he's scanning over my body for any injuries. How the hell can I possibly explain this to him? I know he's probably just as confused as I am, and he just wants to know that Kai is safe. But there's no way I can paint this in a way that could make sense. But it doesn't matter. He just bailed us out of a sticky situation, and I owe him the best explanation I can come up with. Best to stick to the facts and tell him what little I actually know. With a deep breath, I look him in the eyes directly, and I hope I seem confident. Last night, after we got home from your club, there was a dead body in the hall, right outside our door room. The peacekeepers think it's Kai that did it, or maybe me. I'm not really sure, but they seem really convinced that we are to blame somehow. And Talis, he said something about Kai still being held responsible for Nika and Jakar. I don't know what I expect from Jace in this moment, but he seems to comprehend what I'm conveying to him. That's not good. Yeah, you can fucking say that again. A dead body right outside your door. Am I getting that right? Briefly shake my head and clarify his question. Not right in front, but in the ceiling a few feet down in the middle of the hall. It was horrifying, and my voice trails off as the image that burned into a memory. My voice trails off as the image that's burned into my memory surges to the forefront once again. A memory I wish I had never attained. I'll devour you too. I see. And why exactly do they think you and Kai are involved in any capacity? Surely they must have some form of evidence against you both if they went to such great lengths to detain you. Shit. I really don't want to tell him about the whole star sickness thing. Zay seems trustworthy enough, and Kai seemingly loves him to death. The last thing I want to do is poison him against me by seeming like I'm insane. But he deserves the truth. He's earned that much, and even if it paints me in a horrible light. Well, yeah, you're right about that, Jace. I can't believe I'm actually telling him this. Are you familiar with star sickness, Jace? He seems a bit shocked, but his brief moment of surprise fades away just as quickly as it arrived. Of course I am. Cortera is close enough to Zenithir that Kai and I didn't need to use wormhole tech to arrive here, so I've never experienced it. But I do know what it is. Why is it important now? He folds his paws over his muscled chest as he waits for me to continue, and I muster up my courage to drop this bombshell on him. Guys, I hope he's going to be understanding. Well, it's very important. Actually, I have a pretty nasty case of it, and I've been having nightmares. Really, really vivid ones, and I've been walking in my sleep. Two nights, this is Zach. Well, 2 nights this week, I woke up in the hall, staring at the ceiling in the exact spot that the body was found. Talis has the footage of me being there, and a car trying to help me snap out of whatever it is that was controlling my mind during those moments. I said some pretty horrible things to Kai yesterday, incriminating things that don't look too good on him now that another murder has happened. He froze his prominent brows at me, like he scolded me just as he scolded Kai yesterday. Yeah, what did you say to my friend? My blood freezes up in my chest at his question. Fuck, he's not going to like this. My mouth seems too dry to talk, and I practically choke on the bitter spittle clinging to my tongue. I said I wanted to kill him, and that he was the one that killed Nika and Jakar. I brace myself for what is surely going to be an explosive burst of anger, but he doesn't react, at least not visibly. You're right, this is a pretty horrible thing to say. But I can't blame you, kid. I've heard some pretty damning things about star sickness. It's no laughing matter. If you call Kai the killer and Talos already has suspicions, I can see why he'd come barreling down on you too. But that doesn't mean you're actually to blame in any way, shape, or form. There is someone behind this, but I won't pretend to know how your hallucinations and nightmares tie into it. A small sigh of relief floods out of my throat, thanking the gods that he's not actually mad at me. But you know what I think? My ears perk up a bit, eager to hear what he has to say about this whole fucked up situation. This isn't a coincidence. No chance in hell is this some random shot in the dark. No. Who is actually behind this is smart, real smart. Jace runs one of his big claws over his muzzle, musing and ruminating as he gathers his thoughts. This person, or maybe even persons, know damn well what the political climate is like right now. They're trying to make it seem like it's diplomats that are responsible. That's why the body was found where it was. That's not just pure circumstance. There's no doubt in my mind that's targeted. A freezing place, completely stunned. You think this cycle is intentionally trying to make it look like Kai and I are the ones behind it all? It makes a lot of sense. Jace might actually be onto something here. It's all just too perfect, and the murderer literally talked to the camera at the end of footage. It knew we'd be watching. Jace grumbles under his breath, turning to walk up the street from me. Whatever's going on here is a lot bigger than us, and I'm going to do everything I can to make sure you boys are safe from this. I know I can't offer much, but if you ever need a place to stay, you let me know, okay? I'll be seeing you. As he fully turns his back coming into view, the pit in my stomach starts to grow a little deeper. I don't want to be left alone, not until Kai is released. At least that, and well, there's something I still feel I need to ask him. It seems fucking stupid and trivial at a time like this, but it doesn't change the fact that I need to know. Jace, wait. He stops walking, looking over his shoulder, and my desperate expression pauses. Yeah? What's up, kid? Here goes nothing. Well, for starters, I'm really sorry about what happened last night in your club. That was wildly inappropriate, and I'm so sorry for putting you in that situation. I'm a fucking idiot. I know I am. But that doesn't excuse what happened, and neither does the scourge. Jace gives me a slight chuckle and pats me on the paw. The strength of his arm is evident even in the simplest touch as he consoles me. Hey, don't worry about it, kid. Not the first time something like that has happened, and it certainly won't be the last. I'm just glad you were able to get home. Well, safe doesn't really seem like a fitting word, does it? Regardless, I appreciate the sentiment. He straightens his jacket a little, covering up his bare chest slightly more. Now, there's nothing else you need from me. I do have to. Actually, there's one thing I wanted to ask you. If you're willing to hear me out, that is. I cut him off mid-sentence. I know he's a busy guy, but I just have to know. Yeah, what's on your mind, Plover? My voice hesitates for just a moment, but I still my resolve and force myself to ask all the same. Did you know? Did you know that Kai is gay? I know it's not my place to pry into your friendship with him, but I just have to know. Jason's expression softens almost imperceptibly, and he pauses for a few beats, letting my query settle in to the space around us. I knew, kid. I've known for a long, long time. I knew what the scolds would do to him. That's why I wasn't too upset by what happened yesterday. Wait, he set it up? Are you telling me you wanted that to happen? What are you trying to say here? His muscles tense and his voice turns frigid, like a blizzard just started brewing inside him. That's not what I meant, Plover. Kai is a complicated guy, and he has more expectations on his shoulders than any one person should ever have to bear. I didn't want that to happen at all, although I guess part of me kind of knew it would. What I wanted was for him to let loose, to actually take a little off for a change. I thought that maybe with a little bit of scolds, the guy could have just one night where he felt at peace. It's easy to say now that was a bit of a pipe dream, wasn't it? I could tell from the moment he walked in that he was attracted to you, even though scolds is no excuse. I'm not going to lie and say I'm surprised. Jace was able to notice a thing like that, regardless if it does feel like a piece of that guilty weight on my shoulders just got taken away. Jace, it's not my business, of course, but did you and Kai, have you two ever? I realize just how out of line I am with my question and stop talking before I dig myself into a deeper hole. I shouldn't be asking him a thing like that. It really isn't important, all things considered. Yes. What? He and Kai? Jay shakes his head, looking down at the street as he breaks eye contact. Here's what you need to understand, Plover. Can't explain some things to you. I can't bring myself to speak after his revelation, so I just nod, patiently waiting for him to elaborate. Kai and I have known one another since we were pups. There's a little bit more complicated than that. What you need to understand. What you need to understand about Kotero is that not all people are created equal. There are different expectations for our two species. He's a Nat Varg, and I'm a Koterian. Kai has expectations set upon him solely because of what he is, not who he is. On a place like Kotero, that's a hard thing to overcome. I know what my preferences are, and I'm fortunate enough to have had the space to explore those freely. Kai and the other not Varg, they aren't so lucky. My heart sinks a little as he starts to explain, because I'm pretty sure I know where this is going. Wow, I feel really fucking stupid. I'm such a jackass for just assuming that because being gay is hilarious, okay? That's like that everywhere else in the galaxy too. I thought we had all sorted out. Well, I thought we all sort of moved past that, and it's starting to seem like that might not be the case. I never stopped to think that there might be more to his inhibitions than his own personal insecurities. It was a long time ago, and the only reason why I'm telling you now is because I know Kai like he's my own brother. I know just how much he cares about you, and I have never seen him behave like this towards anyone, scolds or not. So yes, I know Kai is gay, and I feel like you deserve to know the story how I know it is important. One night after his training, he came to me, and I knew something was bothering him. Something was off. He was crying and upset. I had never seen him like that, not once in all our cycles together. Quilt wolves are forbidden from expressing such emotions, so for him to show me that side of him, I knew it must be important. Jace takes a deep breath as he relieves this memory, slowly shaking his head from side to side of disappointment. It's almost as if the weights placed upon Kai are they're being placed upon me now too. Kai, I'm so fucking sorry, man. I had no idea. I never knew. We got to talking, and I asked him what was wrong. One thing led to another, and he confessed. We knew that I was gay. Well, he knew that I was gay, and he was jealous that I was able to live my life so freely when he had to live his in the cage. It was so unblatantly. He knew that I was gay, and he was jealous that I was able to live my life so freely when he had to live his in a cage. It's so blatantly unfair, and that's when he said he told me that he couldn't take it anymore, that he didn't think he'd be able to ever accept himself for who he was. Jay stopped talking, clenching his paws tightly down upon themselves. He told me that he didn't want to live anymore, and Kai, he was going to. Oh, my dead body was something like that going to happen. Not to my friend, not to my brother. I didn't know what to do. I just knew I had to put a stop to it. I had to help him in any way I could. Jay sighed deeply, rubbing his eyes to ward off his emotions, bubbling up from the past. I told him that it's okay, that he was perfect just how he was, and that his feelings didn't change who he was on the inside. He was still my friend, still the same Crip Wolf I had played games up that I had played games with as a pup, and nothing was ever going to take that away from us. Jay says he really something else. Kai is so lucky that he has a friend like him, and I guess that means I'm lucky too. Who knows what would have happened if Jace wasn't there to help him. My mind wanders to the worst case scenario, wanders to the fact that Kai probably wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the kind words of a single quotidian. Words said out of nothing but kindness and compassion in the darkest of times. Kai held me to him, and we just stayed like that all night. One thing led to another, and, well, yeah, it felt right. At least in the moment it did, of course. My friend was hurting. He was so unsure of himself and what it meant to be not Varg, and I wanted to take that pain away. Kai had all that stuff locked away inside him, and he needed to let it out. Kai had all that stuff locked away inside him, and he needed to let it all out. He needed to be his true self, only for a single night. Chase laughs a little as he reminisces of his past, a dry quacking sound with no real humor behind it. It makes sense. I'm not mad at all. In fact, I'm just grateful. I can't help but wonder, though, if Kai and Chase were so intimate and are still such good friends. What could have possibly happened to separate them? As time went on, Kai and I explored that side of him together in secret. If word ever got out about what he was doing, there would be some pretty horrific consequences. There aren't many not Vargs on Kotera, all things considered, and the expectation to have pups is high. It was then that I realized that it wasn't meant to be him and I, not for me anyways. I love Kai, I still do, but only like a brother. He had always been there for me, and I for him. Nothing was ever going to change that. But I just couldn't keep going. The last thing I wanted to do was to lead him on. So one night, when Kai came to me, as he had so many nights before, I told him no. I told him that I loved him deeply and truly, but that I couldn't be this person for him. Not anymore. That takes a lot of courage to do. To stay true to oneself, even if it's hard to accept, given the circumstances. I hope to one day be able to have just an ounce of that courage inside of me too. What happened, Jace? Was Kai mad at you? Sad? He pauses for a moment, giving me a tender smile. He said he understood and asked if this had changed anything between us. Jace laughs again, his broad shoulders bouncing up and down at the absurdity of it. What a dumb fucking question. Of course it didn't change anything between us. Nothing ever could. He was still my best friend, and that was always going to be the case. Kai said that he sort of knew he felt the same way. He was just afraid to admit it, was scared that it might ruin things if we weren't on the same page. He takes a deep breath, shaking his head almost imperceptibly. So yeah, Kai has got a lot of things he has to work through, and I know he's not really the easiest to talk to at times. Trust me, I know that better than anyone. But just know that in this whole stupid fucking universe, no one is more deserving of love than that damn Quit Wolf. He's dumb as can be, impulsive and rational at times, but he has a good heart. And that's a rare thing to come by these days. Jace glances down at his data pad and sighs, his expression becoming a bit more concerned. Look, as much as I would love to stay here with you until Kai gets out, I really need to head back to Vortec. It's a pretty busy night, and I've been away for long enough as is. But before I go, I just want to say one more thing. Just be patient with him, please. He's rough around the edges, but it's only because he cares. He cares too much, if I'm being honest. Give him a chance, okay? He deserves at least that much. He has so much to offer and so much to give. Our people are famously good judges of character, and after the few short conversations I had for Our people are famously good judges of character, and after the few short conversations I had with you, I could tell he's making a damn good choice, if you ask me. You're alright in my book, kid, so stay safe and stay out of trouble. Coterans in their family, they really do have a special way of making someone feel good about themselves. I can't bring myself to speak as Jace walks away. The brick in my throat is too large to get the words around anyways. His paw waves back at me before he disappears around the corner, fading away from my sight. Thank you, Jace, for everything. Damn, that was a lot to take in. I can't believe Jace, man. I can't believe Kai was actually going to do it. Just the fact that he was considering it is proof enough that even the strongest among us, those of us we think carry the weight of expectation most flawlessly, sometimes just need a friend. I can't imagine what it must have been like to have been in Jason's position. Doing things with your friend like that is sort of a taboo thing to explore, something I wouldn't ever dare to try and delve into personally. I'm just really grateful he's a better person than I. I don't think I'd have had the balls to do what he did and be there for someone in the way he was. Then again, I can't say I really have a friend like that. Come to think of it, someone I truly love. But I hope that maybe I can be as good a friend to Kai as Jace was all those years ago, and maybe even something more. I guess only time will tell, even if time some I guess only time will tell, even if time seems to be a luxury now, more than ever. With all this shit going on, who knows what the next day holds. For all I know, I could wake up dead. Guess there's not much reason to put stake into what else. Better to just take it one day at a time. All I know is that I'm going to try. I'm going to try my best to be the person Kai needs. To be the person Kai deserves, no matter the cost. I lean my back up against the metal wall of the barracks, settling down lightly onto my haunches as I prepare to wait for however long I need I need to until Kai is let out. I wonder what's going on in there. What Talos is. I wonder what's going on in there. What Talos is saying. I just hope that Kai is keeping a level head about him. After what happened to him this morning, the poor guy is probably frustrated as hell. And I don't blame him, not one bit. Talos is an asshole, and the peacekeepers were savage, barbaric, and brutal in a way I couldn't have possibly imagined. I suppose I knew they had it in him. I suppose I knew they had it in them, given the first encounter I witnessed between Kai and the peacekeepers, but I never would have assumed they go to these sorts of lengths to ensure compliance. Senator thus far has felt, I don't know, a bit more refined, elegant, perhaps. To see what the Xenilarians are capable of makes me a bit nervous, to be honest. Everything I thought I knew about them seems to be conflicted now. It's like I'm seeing them through a shattered lens, almost like they're a dark mirror image of what they once were. Atticus isn't like this, and I don't think Acadia is either, but it's really starting to seem like they're the exceptions. Who knows what Talos is really capable of? Whatever it is, it's probably a lot worse than what I'm imagining right now, and I hope through all gods that Kai isn't experiencing it. There's still a few things about our interrogation that I can't quite wrap my mind around, like how Talos said that Kai is still being held liable for Nika and Jakar, and what did Talos mean when he mentioned Kai's true motivations? What the hell is that about? Kai had already been detained once before, and if they didn't have anything on him then, I don't know what possibly could have changed to make Talos believe it now. Talos wouldn't have released him if he had any suspicions that Kai was responsible. He's probably grasping at straws again, just like he was the day after he showed us the footage of the murder. The victim, poor guy. He never stood a chance against whatever the hell that was that killed him. My front bristles as I remember the scene that unfolded, the scene of an invisible assailant ripping someone to shreds, eating their arm whole. Marrow wells up in my throat just at the thought alone, causing me to gag ever so slightly. With all the self-control I can muster, I force it down. I have to stay in control here. I can't let this star-sick shit get to me. Not now. Kai was barely even fazed at the sight of a corpse. I suppose this isn't really the first time he's seen this sort of thing, given what he went through during the Vampirian invasion of Cortera. All I know is that Kai and I need to have a long talk about what happened, and we need to come up with a plan. I have a lot of explaining to do, and I guess he does too. As much as I hate to admit it, Talos is right. We have to stay out of trouble, and that's starting to seem a lot easier said than done at this point. We didn't do anything wrong, and yet Wong seems to have a pretty interesting way of seeing us out. I shake my head, trying my best to ward off these intrusive thoughts of introspection. My back slides down the wall, and my legs sprawl out more fully. I grab my tail, lacing it over my leg so it doesn't cramp as I settle in for what could be a really long wait. Who knows how long Kai's going to be in there? No point in standing around. I take some time to evaluate my surroundings, since I've never really been to this part of the city before. To be fair, I haven't been to many parts of the city in general, but as I look out at the buildings, I have to admit, Xenilair really is a beautiful place. This part of the city is relatively run down compared to a commercial district. Yet even here, everything is covered in a sort of fluorescent hue, making it seem as if the structures themselves are pulsing with fathoms of untapped energy. Lights dance across the metal streets from around every corner, like I'm sitting in the middle of an emerald or a sapphire. The energy pylons softly hum, creating a constant white noise that gently fills the air with their hushed whispers and tone. Plover, huh? I look up, start to see Kai standing right beside me, staring down at me as I daydream. Holy shit, for such a big guy, he sure does know how to walk quietly when he wants to. Against the inside of my ribs, my heart flutters just a bit as I see him standing tall and proud. My eyes roam all over him, checking for any new signs of inquiry or abuse, and I'm pleasantly surprised that I don't find any. Thank the gods he's safe. Are you alright, little wolf? I leap up onto my feet, spreading my arms wide as I wrap him up into an embrace. My paws struggle to connect together behind him, given the sheer size of his body, but I don't let that stop me from squeezing him with all my might. Yeah, I'm fine. It's you I'm worried about, not me. Kai hesitates for just a moment, taken aback by my sudden gesture before his muscles relax, and he hugs me back. I can feel the sharp prick of his claws against my fur through my jacket as he softly rubs his paws up and down. I am unharmed, little one, for the most part. Anyway, I'm glad that the same is true for you. My memories of the past few hours are a bit foggy, as much as it pains me to say. He was not fully aware, well, I was not fully aware of the state you were in when Talus sent you away. A part of me was concerned that you were gravely injured or perhaps something even worse. He grimaces a bit, removing one paw from me and rubbing the back of his head, which has got to be tender and sore after the beating he received earlier this evening. He grimaces a bit, removing one paw from me and rubbing the back of his head, which has got to be tender and sore after the beating he received earlier this morning. Thank the gods his body is as resilient as it is. I don't think many other beings would have been able to survive such harsh treatment. I nod against his chest before I step away, allow my paw to linger just a moment longer against his arm. I'm so glad you're okay. Kai chuckles, patting me between my ears and gently ruffling my fur, causing a bit of setting to cascade to the ground. It will take far more than some silly peacekeepers to get the better of me. That much, I assure you, Plover. I'm going to be just fine in spite of all that has occurred to me. I scoff a little under my breath, but I know better than to press the issue. The peacekeepers beat the shit out of him, and his ego is probably just as damaged as that thick skull of his. Far be it from me to make him feel even worse than he might already be on the inside. Doesn't mean I can't joke about it to lighten the mood, though. Yeah, you sure sold them, didn't you, big guy? He grins down at me, which is such a pleasant sight to see after all the suffering he's gone through today. Oh, so that is how it is going to be, huh? You think I cannot take a hit? Is that it, little wolf? His cocky smirk grows impossibly more devious. Perhaps I need to show you just how capable I truly am. Kai's heavy paws shoot forward, grabbing me gently by the shoulders and pulling me back against him once more. He balls up his fist and rubs his knuckles playfully against my head, ruining my fur entirely. Get off me, you fat brute. Or what, little wolf? What is it that you will do? Kai bends low, meeting me eye to eye, giving me a chance to really see his impressive features up close. Don't worry, Plover, I merely jest. I push him chokingly against his chest, not like I could actually do any damage to him, even if I did hit him hard. Yeah, but like you told me before, you forgot your own strength sometimes. His His joyful smile spreads impossibly wider and his tongue flicks out, giving me an icy cold lake across my muzzle. I use exactly as much strength as you can handle, little wolf. You are not some fragile creature that must be coddled and kept safe. And don't you forget it, quick wolf. Unless, of course, you prefer me to treat you as if you are some weak damsel in distress. Would that be more to your liking, little one? Fuck no. But I do think there's probably some happy middle ground between being playful with me and scrambling my brains up with those big damn paws of yours. He takes a slight step away from me, but he still remains close enough that I can feel his body wicking the heat from the air. Ah, perhaps you're right. I will keep this advice in mind moving forward. Kai breathes deeply, stretching his massive arms high above his head as his muscles contract and release, removing the latent tension in his body. We probably should move along. I do not wish to tarry here any longer than I need to. It must surely be no surprise to you that I do not particularly enjoy this part of the city, given the bad experiences that occur here so frequently. He starts to walk up to the street, heading in the opposite direction that Jace went. With the same confidence as his curtailing friend, Kai gracefully traverses the road, passing entire buildings in just a few steps. Kai halts his movements and looks over his shoulder at me, flashing a slight hint of concern across his eyes. Are you not coming, little one? I shake off my feelings of enamor and rush up to walk by his side. We track in relative silence, and I can't help but feel a bit awkward. There also hasn't been an opportunity to refine our feelings for one another, and I'm not quite sure how far over the boundary I'm allowed to reach. Do I hold his paw? Do I give him his space? I mean, I want to hold his paw, but at the same time, I don't want to overwhelm him with too much too soon. I know all too well just how secluded he can be. Then again, he did cuddle me to sleep last night as I was having my episode. I'm probably overthinking it. Just take his fucking paw, Plover. I reached down and grabbed his paw in mine, lacing my fingers between his. My movement is a bit sudden, actually a lot more sudden than I was intending. It feels forced, at least to me it does, but Kai doesn't seem to mind. I can hear a gentle rumble vibrating through his cavernous chest, a clear sign of satisfaction at my gesture. Well, I guess that settles it, for now, anyway. Tell me, little one, what happened to Jace? I assumed that he had to return to Vortex, considering the hour of the night it currently is. My body tenses a bit at his pointed question, causing my paw to grip his a little more tightly. That's one hell of a question there, Kai. I don't really want to lie to him about what Jace and I talked about, but it's important enough that he knows I am aware of what happened. I can see him flash me a bit of side-eye as he notices my sudden shift in demeanor. Is everything alright, little one? I can sense the tension within you. Did something happen? Well, Jace headed off back to his club. He said he had to get to work, even if he wanted to stay and wait for you with me. But we had a conversation before he left. He tilts his head to face me more fully, his glowing eyes making me shiver a bit. Oh, is that so? What was it that you conversed about, if I am allowed to ask such things? I was so damn polite. To be honest, well, I apologize for what happened in Vortex yesterday, since I still feel pretty bad about the situation. Kai's eyes grow wide in surprise, but other than that, he doesn't react much. What do you mean by this, Plover? Gods be damned, why is it so hard to talk to him sometimes? No, not like that. I don't mean I'm apologizing for that, for doing that with you. It's just that I'm sorry for the situation we put him in. imagine how conflicting it must have been for him to kick us out, especially given your, past. My emphasis on the final word pretty clearly hints at me knowing more than I'm letting on. Previously, I have assumed this subtle clue would have gone right over his head, but now that I know he catches on to a lot more than I give him credit for, I hope it's enough to broach the subject. Sure enough, Kai stops walking, releasing our our intimately touching paws. There's a glowing dark, there's a glowing sign right above his head, casting a soft green glow over his dark fur, reflecting on it. Sure enough, Kai stops walking, releasing our somewhat intimately touching paws. There's a glowing sign right above his head, casting a soft green glow over his dark fur, reflecting off his luminous eyes. What was it that he told you, Plover? He taps his foot against the metal street, his sharp claws making a pretty distinct clacking sound as it echoes off the buildings surrounding us. I don't speak Koteran Kai, and you were talking right in front of me yesterday, so I didn't know the context of what was being said. So I asked him if he knew about you being, gay. Kai's expression grows a shade darker against the low light, casting his inner turmoil down upon me like a heavy rain. Knowing Jace, he divulged that we have had feelings in the past, and yes. He doesn't really seem mad at me, just more concerned than anything. Almost like he's hoping I'm not mad at him for what their history contains. Trust me, I'm not. I really don't really care. I don't feel threatened at all that he and Jace figured out Kai's sexuality together all those years ago. Quite the opposite, I'm glad that Kai had someone he could trust enough to explore those feelings with. I just need to make sure that he knows that. Yeah, he did. But look, Kai, I'm not upset by it. If that's what you worry about, I guess I probably should have asked you that type of question rather than Jace. Even if he was a part of it too. I just want you to know that I'm happy I know, for whatever that's worth. Kai seems taken aback by my words, like he was expecting a drastically different reaction. You do not care about such things. I was having some trepidations about needing to have this conversation with you, as I am aware that it was inevitable. If that is the case, then what is it exactly that you do think about it? Gosh, Kai, you still know how to put a guy on the spot, don't you? Well, to be honest, you told me a lot of things. Some of them I feel like I'm glad to have heard, and some things, not so much. He told me about how you came out to him, and about all the things that happened after that between you two. He didn't go into detail anything. It's good to know just how close you two are. I wouldn't have known otherwise had he not told me. Kai hesitates for a moment, and I'm not really sure if he wants to continue elaborating it or not. When he speaks, his voice is deep, somber, like honey dripping off a spoon. What did he tell you that you wish you did not hear? Shit. Now, I really don't want him to be under the impression I think less of him. I understand how hard it must have been for him, and I don't blame him, not one bit. Jason made mention that you didn't want to. Well, I think you know what he told me. He winces visibly at my comment, recoiling against the magnitude of the revelation. I have to let him know that's okay. He needs to know that he needs to. But don't worry, I'm just glad that you're still around, Kai. The galaxy is a better place with you in it, and I'm so fucking proud of you for having the strength to move past all that. I can imagine, I can't imagine being in your feet, and I'm not going to pretend like I fully understand the magnitude of what it is that you went through. All I can say is that I sympathize even if I can't really empathize. Kai doesn't speak, he just stands there, alone with his thoughts. As much as I want to reach out and comfort him, I don't, even if it as much as I want to reach out and comfort him, I don't, even if I really want to. He needs to be able to come to terms with this new knowledge, and he needs to do that on his own. That is something that I intend to take with me to my grave. It is not one of my prouder moments. I will be honest with you, Plover. I do not like that you are aware of such things. It makes me a lesser being, does it not? What? Why would he say something like that? I guess it's just like what Jay said. Quit wolves really aren't allowed to be vulnerable in any sense of the word. It must be a pretty new experience for him to be, well, himself. I just hope he's brave enough to be that person around me too. Kai, look at me. I wait for him to lift his gaze off his feet, and when he finally meets me eye to eye, I hope that my expression is conveying just how I'm feeling. You need to hear this, okay? I want you to listen to me and believe that what I'm telling you is the truth, because it is. I reach forward, taking his paw back into mine, giving him a gentle squeeze. The tension in his body is blatantly apparent, coursing through every fiber of his muscles. There is nothing wrong with you, okay? Whatever it is that they taught you on Kotera about the true meaning of strength and honor is a fucking lie. I know that might not be what you want to hear right now, but I am not going to let that stop me from telling you. If what they taught you is so restrictive and so fabricated that you believed the only escape was to end it all, then fuck them, right? I moved my other paw up, giving him a firm pat on his shoulder. You know what else Jace told me? He told me how amazing you are, and how lucky he is that he had an opportunity to help you, and all the shapes and forms that came in. He doesn't think any less of you, and neither do I. I just hope that you don't think any less of yourself, even if I know deep down you do. That's the part that sucks the most. I can stand here and tell him it doesn't change anything to me. And while that may be true, it doesn't mean it has to change things for him. It's easy to accept other people, but accepting yourself, that's a lot harder. Kai's eyes simmer with a flicker of emotion before it quickly fades into the background of his turbulent thoughts. You mean it, little one? I smirk at him, ever so slightly, trying to pull him closer towards me. Of course I mean it, Kai. I meant every damn word. No one deserves to go through what you did. No one. Kai chuckles, allowing himself to be moved to my side. His body presses flush against my arm, and he gives me a playful bump from his hip. In that case, I'm glad that he told you as well, and thank you for your kind words, Clover. They mean more to me than you could possibly imagine. He takes a deep breath, shakes his head slightly as he comes to terms with what I said. You Solonians, you never cease to amaze, do you? I grin and bump him back, albeit not nearly as forcefully. Maybe so, but that's not really the point, is it? The point is that you can be who you want to be now, Kai. And I'll be here beside you every step of the way to catch you when you stumble and help you when you fall. I'm not going to pretend that I know everything about us just yet, but what I do know is that I can't wait to figure it out. I release his paw, wrapping my arm around his waist instead. I'm so glad he's seemingly coming to terms with all of this, even if it's probably really hard for him to accept himself. So on that note, why don't you tell me what happened after Talos kicked me out? I just want to change the subject at this point. No reason to make us both emotional wrecks after the kind of day we've had. Besides, I kind of like to know if Talos came up with some other wild accusation against him that we'll need to look out for in the future. Kai settles his paw over my shoulder as we continue walking side by side through the city. The gentle confirmation of his affection is warming, in spite of the chilly sensation caused by the touch itself. Okay, so we got to see Eco have his conversation with Jace, and I'm happy that Jace is not mad at them anymore about the stuff they did at the club, on the sexual stuff. So basically, Jace talked about his past with with Kai, and Kai thought about killing himself because his sexuality went against what he truly was. Well, not truly was, but basically his sexuality conflicts with what he's meant to do. Like, well, maybe that's not it, but maybe like he didn't really like being the equipped with the strict expectations, and equipped wolves are supposed to be these big, strong, fearless people. These warriors basically, and Kai doesn't think he really fits the persona of a Equipped Wolf because he's conflicted about his sexuality, so much so that he thought about killing himself, and Jace luckily talked him out of it. So so yeah, he almost killed himself. So that's a big revelation, and so with Eco or Plover, I don't know what. I was thinking about whether just keep it Plover or decide to call him by Eco. So that's the name the game gives him, Eco. But anyway, for now I'll just say Plover. But Plover, he basically told Kai that he needs to accept himself instead of only trying to be what his people expect him to be as a Equipped Wolf. That you just need to be yourself, and I don't think Kai's gonna change to be himself. Well, accepting being himself overnight, but I think he's going to slowly accept being himself instead of only trying to be what he was trained and raised to be. Alright, so what else? Yeah, so we got to learn a lot of information from Jace, and him and Kai used to be something more than just friends, I guess. And I'm assuming they did have sex at one point. Yeah, so we'll continue with Reconnected next time. Thank you all very much for watching. Bye.